The first warning on my phone saved my life. The second one told me my daughter might not survive the night. I live in Sandy Springs, just north of Atlanta, the kind of suburb where every house looks like it was copy-pasted, and the biggest drama is whose trash can got knocked over by raccoons. It was a warm Tuesday evening, around 7. The sky still orange behind the rooftops. I was making spaghetti, half watching local news, while my daughter Lily sat on the couch with her math homework and a bag of pretzels. Right then I downloaded this new neighborhood app everyone kept talking about, Neighbors Watch. People said it showed who was home, who was walking their dog, who was out of town. Sounded stupid, but also kind of useful, like most things in suburban life. When it loaded, it looked harmless. Little dots on a tiny map of our street, status updates like Ken is grilling or Marcy is at yoga. Real thrilling stuff. I stirred the pasta when the phone buzzed. A notification slid across the top. Avoid Pine Lane for the next 10 minutes. Possible obstruction. I frowned. That wasn't the cheerful tone of the other updates. "Hey, Lil," I said. "You know anything about some tree falling on Pine Lane?" She didn't look up. "Dad, I don't even know what day it is." I shrugged it off, switched off the alert. 10 minutes later, while taking out the trash, I heard a sheriff's car rumbling down Pine Lane and the sound of chainsaws starting up. Damn tree really did fall. I remember thinking the timing was weird, but not enough to make me uneasy. Not yet. When I got back inside, another notification appeared, quick and sharp. "Further warnings may follow. Stay attentive." My stomach tightened just a little, like the drop at the top of a roller coaster. I swear the phone screen dimmed on its own for a second, like something was watching from behind it. Then everything went back to normal. And Lily asked if dinner was ready. But even now, looking back, I wish I'd powered the damn thing off right then. Because that last line, it felt less like advice and more like someone clearing their throat before saying something I really wasn't supposed to hear. A couple days later, when everything seemed normal again, the app buzzed at 6 in the morning with a message that made me stop mid-sip of my coffee. "Do not open your mailbox this morning." No explanation, no friendly tone, just that cold sentence staring at me like a dare. I muttered, "What the hell is that supposed to mean?" Lily was still asleep, so the kitchen was quiet in that early morning suburban way, the hum of the fridge louder than it should be. I told myself it was probably some new safety feature, maybe a coyote sighting or some glitch pulling data from who knows where. I ignored it and headed out to warm up the car. As soon as I stepped outside, I heard chaotic barking down the street. A huge golden retriever, normally the sweetest dog on our block, was sprinting in wild circles, snapping at anything that moved. Our mailman, poor guy, was pressed against his truck door, yelling, "Easy, buddy, easy," like the dog cared. I froze, staring at the mailbox just 5 feet from me. The dog tore by again, eyes wide like something had scared him half to death. For the first time in a long while, I felt danger crawling close enough to touch. I backed away slowly and shut the door. "Okay. Weird timing," I whispered, but the hairs on my arms were standing straight up. By noon, I had convinced myself it was a coincidence. Until the phone buzzed again. "Do not enter your bedroom." I was already in the hallway when I read it, hand on the doorknob. The smell hit me first. Burned plastic, sharp and chemical, like something dying inside the walls. I pushed the door open an inch and saw faint smoke curling up from the outlet near the dresser.
I yanked the main breaker in the hallway and aired the room out.
The electrician later said, "You're lucky. Another 5 minutes and the whole wall could have gone up." He laughed about it. I didn't. Because when I checked my phone again, the warning had vanished completely, like it had never been there. And for the rest of the day, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, was timing these messages to the second. Almost like it was standing right beside me, watching what I'd do next, waiting to see if I'd obey the next command. It was the third evening, already dark by the time I pulled out of the Kroger parking lot, with a bag of canned soup and cereal rolling around on the back seat. The sky had that heavy Georgia humidity, the kind that makes the streetlights look smeared. I was tired, half listening to some true crime podcast, when the notification hit the center of my screen so suddenly, I almost dropped the phone. Do not trust the man in the blue jacket. No greeting, no context, just that line, cold as a razor. I actually laughed at first, this hollow, shaky laugh. "Sure," I muttered. "I'll just avoid every guy wearing blue in the entire state." I got out of the car to return my cart and flagged down a parking lot attendant. "Hey man, where do you want me to—" I froze. Blue jacket. Not navy, not denim. The exact bright blue from the warning. He gave me a polite smile, the kind you give strangers you don't want to talk to, and pointed at the cart corral. "Just over there, sir." His voice was normal, totally normal. But something in the way his eyes lingered 1 second too long made my stomach clench. I pushed the cart away fast, pretending I didn't feel his gaze on my back. When I turned toward my car, he was there again, walking in my direction. Not fast, just steady. Too steady. I picked up my pace. He did too. I hit the car door unlock button so many times it beeped angrily. By the time I slid inside and slammed the door, my hands were shaking hard enough to rattle the keys.
The man walked past my headlights, slow and deliberate, like he wanted me to see his face. He didn't glance at me, but he didn't need to. My heart was punching the inside of my chest. I peeled out of the parking lot, almost clipping a shopping cart. The whole ride home, every truck behind me looked like it was following too close. Every pedestrian looked like they were wearing blue. When I finally parked in my driveway, I just sat there with the engine running, watching my dark house like it might watch back. Then my phone buzzed again. Just one new notification waiting. And for the first time, I wasn't sure if I wanted to read it or if whatever was sending those messages already knew I would. It was Saturday afternoon, hot and windless, the kind of Georgia heat that clings to your skin. I'd been out buying paint at Home Depot, something boring, something normal, when I called Lily to check in. Straight to voicemail. I tried again, and again. Nothing. She was supposed to be home. She never ignored my calls. Not like this. I told myself it was just a dead battery, but there was a cold, crawling feeling in my gut that didn't match that excuse. I was already turning the wheel to head back when my phone vibrated with a sharp, heavy buzz, different from the usual alerts. A message appeared across the whole screen, white letters on black, like it had hijacked my phone. "If you want to see Lily alive, complete the task. Go to the pantry. Lock the door. Wait." I swear the temperature inside my truck dropped 10 degrees. My fingers tightened on the wheel until my knuckles looked like bone. "No," I whispered to no one. "No, you don't get to say that." For a second I thought it had to be malware, some sick prank. But my heart didn't buy it. Something felt wrong. Wrong in a way that made logic seemed like a paper-thin shield. I sped home, ignoring every red light, tires screaming when I pulled into the driveway. The front door was cracked open, not wide, just an inch. The kind of opening that says someone left in a hurry, or someone entered without caring if I noticed. The house was too quiet. Quiet in a way that felt staged. Lily's school backpack was on the floor, spilled open like she'd dropped it mid-step. Her pencil case split, the little pink zipper torn off. "Lily!" I shouted. My voice came out too loud, too shaky. No answer. I ran down the hall, every footstep echoing like it didn't belong to me. My phone buzzed again in my sweaty palm. "Pantry. Now." That was all. Just 2 words, like a command from something that already knew I wouldn't disobey. I don't remember making the decision. 1 second I was staring at the broken backpack, and the next I was yanking open the pantry door, stepping inside the cramped dark, and pulling it shut behind me. My breathing sounded huge in that small, stale space. My hands trembled around the phone. I didn't know if I was locking myself in with danger or trying to hide from it. All I knew was that the house outside felt suddenly occupied by someone who wasn't my daughter. And as I slid the deadbolt into place, the phone lit up again with a fresh message. This one didn't tell me what to do. It asked a question. "Are you ready?" The pantry was barely 8 feet long, maybe 3 feet wide, the kind of narrow space where your shoulders brush both walls if you turn sideways. Old wooden boards lined the walls, dry and splintered, smelling like dust and forgotten summers. I shut the door behind me, the clicking sound too loud in the small dark. Before I could even reach for the chain pull, the light snapped off on its own with a sharp electric pop, like someone outside had yanked the cord. My breath froze halfway in my throat. For a moment there was nothing, just the hum of blood in my ears. Then I heard footsteps in the hallway. Slow steps, heavy, deliberate, each one settling into the wood with the patience of someone who wasn't in a hurry, someone who already knew exactly where I was. I pressed my back against the wall, my phone clenched in my fist, like it could stab something if I swung it hard enough. The air in the pantry felt thick, like it didn't want me to breathe. Then came the breathing, low, ragged, wet at the edges, like a man fighting off a cold or something worse, something that rattled in the lungs. It grew louder, closer, until it drowned out the small creaks of the house settling. A shadow slid across the narrow gap at the bottom of the door, swallowing the strip of light from the hall. I swallowed hard, praying the sound didn't carry. A moment later, metal scraped. Slowly, purposefully. Fingernails dragging across the pantry doorknob, long enough to send a cold spike straight into my spine. A scraping sound, like someone testing the boundary between us, seeing how thin the door really was. My phone vibrated violently against my palm. A new message appeared. "Do not move." I didn't. I couldn't. I felt like the house itself held its breath with me. The footsteps stopped right outside. The breathing was so close I could almost feel it pushing through the wood grain. 1 second passed, then 2, then 5. My legs trembled so badly I had to bite the inside of my cheek to keep from making a sound. Then, without warning, everything went silent. Not a retreating footstep, not a whisper. Just absolute, suffocating stillness. My phone buzzed again after what felt like a full minute. "Now come out." I stared at the glowing screen in the darkness, afraid to even blink, because the message didn't scare me as much as the realization creeping up my spine. whatever had been outside the door hadn't walked away. And if the app knew that, it wasn't warning me anymore. It was testing me. When I stepped out of the pantry, the house felt hollow, like someone had scooped all the air out of it. Every light was still on, every window still locked, but the silence was wrong. Too even, too neat, like a stage set after the actors have slipped out the back door. I called for Lily, barely able to get her name out. No answer. My legs almost buckled when I heard laughter coming from outside, a bright, careless kid laugh. I ran to the porch and saw her sitting in the neighbor's yard with her friend Mia, swinging their legs, faces lit by the sunset glow. "Dad?" she said, confused. "Why are you breathing like that?" I couldn't answer. I just grabbed her and held her tight, my hands shaking so badly. She asked if I needed water. Back inside, I tried to tell myself a story, simple enough to believe. The footsteps were stress. The breathing was the old ventilation system. The scraping was pipes expanding. But when I went back to the pantry door, every excuse snapped in half. The wood was scratched. Long, deep gouges around the handle, like someone had dragged nails across it again and again. Not a pipe. Not my imagination. Something wanting in. I deleted the app, wiped it clean off my phone. Then I restarted the device, changed every password I could remember, even factory reset the whole damn thing. For the first time in years, I slept with the hallway light on. But last night, around 2:17 a.m., I woke up to the softest vibration. Not a notification, not a ringtone, just a gentle hum against the nightstand, like the phone was breathing. I reached for it with a hand that didn't feel like mine. The screen was black. No apps open, no messages, no missed calls, just one glowing line across the lock screen, written in that same impossible stark white. "We know you're still here." My thumb hovered over the power button, but the screen went dark before I touched anything, like it had finished what it came to say. And now, I swear I can feel it watching even when the phone is off, like something perched just outside the edge of my vision, waiting for me to slip.
Because maybe deleting the app never mattered. Maybe the thing sending those warnings was never inside the phone. Maybe it was already inside the house.